The morning I vanished, I made her breakfast. Eggs over medium, 2 slices of sourdough, half an avocado sliced like she liked it, perfect fan shape. No salt, just cracked pepper and lemon. She walked into the kitchen in his hoodie. His hoodie. It was inside out, but I recognized the bleach stain on the cuff. I had seen it before, weeks ago, when I followed her to the gas station on Crawford. He kissed her neck while the tank filled. I sat 2 rows behind them at the car wash, gripping the steering wheel hard enough to leave marks. She didn't even flinch when she saw me in the kitchen, just rubbed her eyes and said, "You're up early." That was the moment I realized she thought I'd never leave. That no matter what she wore, what she said, or whose cologne she reeked of, I'd be right there. Making toast. I poured her coffee. No sugar, just oat milk. Set it gently beside her plate. I even folded a napkin. She scrolled her phone while she ate. I could see the reflection of a text in her glasses. "Last night was fire. Miss you already," smiling face with horns. She giggled. Right there. Over breakfast I made. I smiled too. Then I walked into our bedroom, zipped up the duffel bag I'd packed 3 nights ago, grabbed my passport from the sock drawer, and left my wedding ring in the fruit bowl. No fight. No note. Just silence. By the time she finished her toast, I was gone. And I didn't just leave the house. I left her the house, the cars, the bank account, the TV she picked out, the dog she stopped walking, the life she stopped appreciating. All of it. I gave her everything. Except myself. She didn't text. She didn't call. She didn't even check the closets. She didn't know it yet, but that breakfast was goodbye. And it was the last thing I'd ever do for her. There's something eerie about walking away from your entire life and realizing it doesn't chase after you. I drove for 4 hours before I realized I still had the spare key to her car in my pocket. My phone buzzed once. Amber Alert. Not her. Not even a "where are you?" Not a single question. She either hadn't noticed yet, or she had and didn't care. I was betting on the second. I checked into a motel outside Shreveport under the name Rick Matheson, some combination of my middle name and my late uncle's. I paid in cash. Told the guy at the counter I was a contractor, just passing through. He didn't care. Nobody cares when a man disappears, as long as he doesn't make noise. But here's the thing. I didn't go off the grid completely. Before I left, I made sure to do something petty. Something calculated. Something that wouldn't make me the bad guy, but would slowly start peeling her illusion apart like wallpaper in a humid room. The night before I vanished, while she was in the shower humming that god-awful indie song her boyfriend probably sent her, I logged into our smart home app. I scheduled the thermostat to go up to 89 degrees Fahrenheit every day at 2 a.m. I set the lights to flicker randomly between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., and changed all the Spotify playlists to Norwegian black metal under a fake profile named Clay20. Fitting. But the real kicker? I reset the alarm system passcode. She was going to have to call customer service eventually. I could just picture it, barefoot in that oversized hoodie, yelling into the phone. "What do you mean it was changed remotely?" I didn't want revenge in the traditional sense. I didn't want to hurt her physically, or trash the house, or burn her clothes. I just wanted her to live inside a slow-brewing hell that looked exactly like the paradise she thought she stole. And yeah, call me bitter. I am bitter. You give over a decade of your life to someone who stops looking you in the eye and starts calling another man babe behind your back, and then tell me how zen you'd be. I didn't leave out of strength. Let's be clear. I left because staying made me hate the version of myself that kept waiting to be chosen. She made me feel small, like a stupid, loyal dog who kept bringing back a stick she never threw. So I gave her the house, the cars, the passwords, the life. But I didn't give her the dignity of a goodbye. And still, she didn't call. Not on day 1. Not on day 2. Not even when the mortgage reminder hit and she realized it was only in my name. She still hasn't found the burner phone I left in the drawer behind the spice rack. It's going to ring soon. And when it does, she's going to hear something she never expected. Because while she was busy erasing me, someone else was watching. And they've been waiting for me to make my move. Day 4. Still no text. No call. Not even a missed notification from the bank. If she was panicking, she wasn't showing it. And maybe that was her plan all along. Maybe she wanted me to disappear quietly so she could rewrite the story. Spin it like I abandoned her. Paint herself as the poor, confused wife who just couldn't understand why her loving husband left without a trace. I could see the headlines already. He had mental health problems. He was distant. He made up stories in his head. God, she was good at playing innocent. I should have known the first time she lied to a cop about running a stop sign and walked away laughing. But I wasn't the same man she remembered. I wasn't just watching anymore. I had help. See, 2 weeks before I vanished, I started getting emails. From a burner address. No name. No intro. Just photos. All taken from a phone, blurry but unmistakable. Her and Clay. If that was even his real name. Together at a dog park we'd never been to. Her kissing him in the back seat of a car that wasn't mine. Her reaching into her purse to pay for a motel room under her credit card, with a duffel bag in her hand that I packed for our anniversary trip last year. The sender never said a word. Just sent a new picture every 3 days. Always with the same subject line. Thought you should know. At first I thought it was a prank. Maybe some private investigator from a divorce lawyer fishing for work. Or worse, maybe Clay himself trying to rattle me. But the angles were too precise. Too intimate. Someone was close to them. Close enough to see what I missed. Close enough to know that I wasn't crazy. So I replied. Simple message. Who are you? No response. But the next email wasn't a photo. It was a video. I sat in that dim motel room, hands shaking as I pressed play. The clip showed Patrice, my wife, the woman who still had our wedding photos framed on the hallway wall, arguing with Clay outside of her gym. The same gym she told me she quit 6 months ago because the vibe was weird. Her hair was in a bun, she wore no makeup, and her voice was sharp, annoyed. You said you deleted the footage. I did, he said. I think. I don't know. Maybe it's in the cloud. If he finds out, then let him. What's he gonna do? Cry in the kitchen again? That last part. That's what broke me. He knew. He knew I cried. She must have told him. Laughed about it, probably. Turned me into a punchline over cheap vodka and bedsheets that still smelled like our detergent. And she didn't stop him. She agreed. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the mirror and cracked both. Fitting. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the burner phone I left behind for her. The one behind the turmeric and expired cinnamon in the kitchen drawer no one ever opened. I hadn't planned to use it. It was symbolic, a loaded gun with no intention of firing. But now it had a purpose. And when it rang, because it would ring, I wouldn't be the voice she heard. It would be the voice of the person who's been watching her longer than I have. And they've got questions I never dared to ask. I got the call at 3:12 a.m. I had been lying awake in that crusty motel bed, staring at the cracks in the ceiling and thinking about the last time Patrice ever said, I love you. I couldn't remember if it was real or if I had made it up. That's the kind of hell you live in after betrayal, memory distortion. You don't know if the good parts ever existed or if they were just marketing. The burner phone buzzed once. Unknown number. No caller ID. I answered on the second ring. There was breathing. Not heavy. Not rushed. Just calm. Controlled. Then a voice. Male. Slight accent. East Coast, maybe. Mid-40s. I saw her again. Same spot. Clay's getting sloppy. My blood went cold. You've been following her? I asked. He chuckled, like I had asked the dumbest question in the world. No, Everett. I've been following him. You just have good taste in women who choose poor substitutes. I sat up in bed. Who are you? There was silence. A long, unsettling pause. Then, the man replied. Let's just say I was once in your shoes. Except I had a kid involved. You? You're lucky. You got out clean. That hit me in the gut. Clean? I felt like roadkill. I hadn't shaved in 4 days. I'd eaten vending machine pretzels for dinner. My bank account was bleeding. And my wife was sleeping with a man who wore fake designer sneakers and flexed his gym routine on Instagram stories. How do you know my name? I whispered. Because she used it. When she thought no one was listening. She said, Everett would never do something like this. That's the only part she got right. I didn't know what to say. He continued, I've got more than just photos. I have footage. Audio. I know where Clay works. I know what Patrice tells him. I know what she deletes from her phone. And I know what she's planning next. What is she planning? I asked, voice trembling. She's meeting a real estate agent tomorrow, he said. She's selling the house. Your house. I blinked. That house is in my name. Exactly. Which is why she's using a fake signature and telling the agent you're overseas on business. I sent you the listing link. Check your inbox. I opened the burner phone's Gmail. There it was. A new email. Subject line. Your life, for sale. The listing showed our home. The kitchen where I proposed. The bedroom where she used to crawl into my arms like she couldn't sleep without me. Now being described as perfect for young couples ready to settle down. Settling down. With him. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my palms. Why are you helping me? I asked. The man's tone darkened. Because someone helped me once. And because Clay thinks he's untouchable. But he's not. You just have to be smart. I swallowed the lump in my throat. And if I'm not, then you'll lose everything. Twice. Then the line went dead. I stared at the screen, the address, the price tag on the home I once thought was forever. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This was a hostile takeover. And I had a silent partner. The next morning, I drove to the address he texted me. No greeting. Just coordinates and one sentence. If you want answers, come alone. It was a storage facility on the edge of a small town nobody brags about living in. Faded American flag out front. A Coke machine with 2 buttons taped over. The kind of place you don't look twice at unless you're hiding something or someone. I pulled into Unit 114. The door was already up. Inside, there was a lawn chair, a folding table, and a laptop open to what looked like surveillance footage. He was there, black windbreaker, no visible weapon, ball cap pulled low. He didn't offer a name, and I didn't ask again. I didn't need to. His presence was answer enough. I know this is overwhelming, he said, motioning for me to sit. But you need to see this. He clicked a few keys and loaded a video. It was Patrice, my wife, walking out of a jewelry store, holding a small velvet box. I thought she didn't know I was watching, he said. Turns out she did. This was bait. I leaned in. For who? He looked at me sideways. For you. He hit play again. The footage fast-forwarded. Patrice sitting at a cafe patio, pretending to sip coffee, phone in hand. Then, clear as daylight, she turned her head and looked straight into the lens of the street cam. Smiled. She wanted you to find out, he continued. She knew about the photos. She probably guessed someone was leaking them. That means she knows you're still watching, still hurt, still reachable. Why would she want me to find out? She's moving on. Selling the house. Planning God knows what with Clay. He exhaled, long and sharp. That's the thing. Clay isn't who you think he is. I stared. He's not the guy she's sleeping with? Oh, he is, the man said bitterly. But he's more than that. Clay's done this before. To other women. And more importantly, he's done this with other women. He gets them to sabotage their husband's finances, sell joint assets, sign power of attorney documents under duress. Always walks away clean. My head was spinning. Are you saying she's part of some scam? I'm saying Clay makes women believe they're in control, he replied. Then he empties their lives like bank vaults. Leaves behind wreckage. Divorce, debt, regret. I tracked him for 2 years. Your wife is his next project. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. I had hated Patrice for what she did to me, but I never thought she could be used too. I thought she was the mastermind. The villain. Not a victim. She's not innocent, I muttered. No. She made her choices. But that doesn't mean she sees what's coming. We sat in silence for a while. I could hear traffic from the highway. A train horn in the distance. Then he slid a manila envelope across the table. What's this? Everything you need to stop the sale of the house. The forged documents, bank transfers, recordings. This gives you leverage. But don't go to her directly. Not yet. Let her walk into the trap she set for you. And then, he looked me dead in the eyes. Then you decide if you want revenge or closure. I took the envelope and left. By the time I reached the motel, my hands were shaking so hard I dropped the keys twice. Patrice hadn't just cheated on me. She was being played. And if I didn't act fast, she wouldn't just lose me. She'd lose everything. 3 days after I got the envelope, I went back to the house. I told myself it was just to make sure the documents were real. That the forged signature on the real estate papers was enough to stop the sale. But if I'm being honest, I wanted to see it again. Our house. My house. The one she decorated with gallery walls and pastel throw pillows and candle scents based on the seasons. I used to love that place so much it made my chest hurt. Now I parked across the street and stared at it like a stranger. It was open house day. Sunday. 2 clean-cut agents stood on the porch with fake smiles and clipboards. There were balloons tied to the railing. People were walking through with coffee cups and nosy expressions, making small talk about crown molding and natural light, like they weren't standing in the aftermath of my life. I couldn't go in. Legally, sure, I owned the place. But emotionally, I couldn't breathe within 20 feet of it. That's when I saw him. Clay. In a linen shirt. Aviator sunglasses. Leaning on the hood of my car. Well, our car, technically, but we both knew whose name was on the lease. He was laughing with one of the agents. Probably spinning some story about how he and Patrice were newlyweds looking to downsize. He had that fake confidence, the type built on charm and theft. And then I saw her. Patrice. She came down the steps with a box in her arms. She was laughing too. Hair tied back. Dressed like she was going to yoga, not selling off someone else's life. She didn't even glance at the street. Didn't feel me watching. She had no idea I was there. She had no idea what was about to happen. I drove away. Didn't honk. Didn't shout. Didn't throw a rock at his windshield, though I thought about it. I drove to the county clerk's office. Filed a stop order on the house sale. Froze the mortgage. I had the documents now. The forged signature, the dates, the bank transfers she never had permission to approve. Every dot, every crossed T. I gave it to the clerk. Quietly. Legally. No drama. Just facts. But that wasn't the part that felt like revenge. That came later. That night, I posted something anonymously to the neighborhood group. I still had access. She never bothered to remove me. It was a simple message. PSA for anyone who visited the open house at 4483 Penrose Avenue today. Please verify the seller is the legal owner of the property. Public records can be accessed at the county recorder's office. Just saying. Smiley face. I logged off. The next morning, the house listing was pulled offline. And that's when my phone rang again. It was her. Patrice. I stared at her name on the screen like it was a ghost trying to crawl back into my world. I didn't answer. I let it ring. She called again. And again. Then came the texts. Everett. What the hell is going on? Did you do something to the house paperwork? Call me. Please. I need to talk to you. Then, finally. I'm sorry. That one made me laugh. 12 letters. That's all she offered. After everything. After the lies, the gaslighting, the erasure of me from my own life. Her grand olive branch was I'm sorry. I didn't respond. But I wasn't done either. Because what she didn't know was that someone else had left her a gift that morning, tucked into her mailbox. A single flash drive. Inside it. Everything. Every photo. Every recording. Every whispered conversation between her and Clay about how Everett will just vanish quietly. Well, guess what, Patrice? I vanished. But not quietly. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't rot in private forever. Eventually, it leaks. And when it leaks, it stains everything. Even the lies you were most proud of. By the time Tuesday rolled around, the flash drive had done its job. It wasn't just the recordings. It was the timing. I sent it anonymously, no note, no signature, just the files, neatly sorted by date and location. One folder labeled the gym sessions. Another one, motel footage. And the final one, what she said about him. I knew Patrice would open that one last. And when she did, she'd hear herself say it. He's not like Everett. Everett worshipped the ground I walked on. Clay just makes me forget I ever needed that. That's what broke me the night I first heard it. That's when I realized I wasn't losing her. I already had. I was just the guy she kept on the shelf for stability, until chaos came along wearing cologne. But now? Now it was her turn to lose control. I stayed in a small cabin near Lake Tawakoni. Off-grid. No cell towers. No GPS. Just wood, wind, and the occasional fisherman. I had groceries, prepaid internet, and noise-canceling headphones in case I needed to drown out the world. But I didn't. Because the world was starting to listen. That same anonymous email that delivered the flash drive to her mailbox? It was also sent to her law firm's HR department. Her sister, Andrea, the only one in her family who ever liked me. The neighborhood HOA committee. And Clay's real employer, not the fitness consultant gig he flaunted, but the small financial services firm that had very strict codes of conduct. One file at a time, they began to see who she really was, who he really was, and who I had been the entire time. But the irony? I didn't do it for revenge. Not really. Not at first. I did it because silence had made me invisible, and I wanted to be seen. And now? She couldn't stop seeing me. The texts escalated. From apologies to pleas. From pleading to threats. Then back to desperation. Everett, please stop this. You've made your point. You don't understand what this is doing to me. He's furious. I don't know what he's capable of. Please. I'm scared. That last one made me pause. For just a moment. Because I knew what Clay was capable of. And if Patrice was no longer in control, then maybe, just maybe, she was finally starting to understand what it meant to be used. Maybe she'd finally felt what I had felt all those nights, sitting across from her at dinner, watching her scroll through someone else's affection while pretending mine didn't exist. But I didn't reply. Instead, I contacted the voice again, the man who first sent me the photos. He answered like he'd been waiting. "She's starting to crack," I told him. "Good," he said. "But be careful. Desperate people make reckless decisions." "She says she's scared of him." "She should be," he said. "You gave her the rope. Let's see if she pulls herself out or ties the knot tighter." "Do you think he'll leave her?" He laughed bitterly. "No. Clay doesn't leave until there's nothing left to drain. He'll stay until her career's destroyed, her savings are gone, and she's begging him for kindness. Then he'll vanish. He always does." I looked at my reflection in the dark laptop screen. I didn't look like myself anymore. There was something harder in my eyes. Not cruel, just weathered. "I don't want her to get hurt," I said finally. "Too late for that," he replied. Then he hung up. That night, I got a notification on my old shared cloud drive, one we hadn't used in over a year. Patrice had uploaded a video. No message, just the file. It was shaky. She was crying. No makeup. Sitting in her car in the driveway of what used to be our home. She looked directly into the camera and said, "You win, Everett. You ruined me. I hope it was worth it." She ended the video with a whisper. "I wish you'd just come back. I never thought you'd actually leave." That was the first honest thing she'd said in a year. But the part she didn't realize? This wasn't over. Because while she finally saw the consequences, Clay was still in the picture. And he had no intention of going down alone. It ended on a Tuesday. Not with a bang. Not with sirens or arrests or lawsuits. Just silence, the kind that feels earned. By the time Patrice showed up at my cabin, I already knew she would. The man who helped me, I never did learn his real name, texted me that morning. "She's alone." He bailed. Clay was gone. Took what he could, which wasn't much. Most of the damage he did wasn't material. It was personal, deep, and poetic. He left Patrice right where she'd left me months ago, hollowed out, confused, ashamed, and pretending none of it mattered. I watched her car pull up the gravel drive. I didn't hide, didn't flinch. I stood outside the cabin like I'd been waiting for this moment my whole life. Maybe I had. She stepped out of the car slowly, like every movement weighed 10 pounds. Her eyes were swollen. Her voice cracked the second she spoke. "Everett." I didn't say anything. She looked around, hands shaking. I didn't know where else to go. That made me smile, not out of joy, but clarity. All those years I thought I was invisible to her, background noise to her ambition, and now, when everything collapsed, I was the first name her soul reached for. But I didn't gloat. Instead, I pointed to the bench by the cabin door. She sat. We didn't speak for a while. Just the breeze. The trees creaking. A couple of crows fighting in the distance. Then, she whispered, "You were right. About everything." I sat beside her, not close. Just near enough that she could feel the absence between us. She looked at her hands. I thought I wanted something new. Something exciting. I didn't realize I was walking into a trap. Clay? He knew what to say. How to twist things. I thought I was in control. I nodded slowly. You weren't. Tears fell, silent, like she didn't think she deserved the sound. "I don't expect forgiveness," she said. "But I need to say it. I'm sorry. For everything. For how I treated you. For the lies. For turning you into the bad guy when you were the only one who ever loved me right." I exhaled. Not from anger. From release. "I used to dream of this moment," I said. "Of you showing up, crying, telling me you made a mistake. But now that it's here, I don't feel what I thought I would." She blinked. "What do you feel?" "Peace," I said. "I feel like I finally came home. Not to the house. Not to you. To myself." She nodded. "I understand." And in her eyes, I think she really did. We didn't get back together. This isn't one of those stories. There was no kiss. No rekindled flame. Just two broken people sharing the last chapter of a book neither of us would ever reread. She left that afternoon. I watched her car disappear down the road, and I didn't feel the usual pull to chase it. A week later, I bought a little boat. Nothing fancy, just enough to take out on the lake and listen to the world breathe. I got a job at a nearby lodge, fixing things, helping tourists who lock their keys in their rental cabins. It's not glamorous, but it's honest. Sometimes I still think about the man who helped me. I never heard from him again, but I owe him more than he'll ever know. Not just for saving me from her, but for reminding me that I had the right to be saved at all. I don't hate Patrice. She gave me the worst heartbreak of my life and the best freedom I've ever known. Now, I sleep through the night. I make my own coffee. I don't wait for anyone to text me back. And every now and then, when the sun sets just right, I whisper the words I wish I'd said when I left her. Goodbye. Thank you for letting me go.